Imagine treating your body like an old smartphone. You know, you just assume your battery's naturally dying because you're past 35 or 40, and there's absolutely nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, right.
But what if your eggs aren't actually expiring on some fixed, unavoidable timeline? What if they're just, well, rusting, and you have exactly 90 days to clean them off?
It completely flips the narrative, doesn't it? I mean, we've all been conditioned to fear that dreaded ticking biological clock.
Oh, absolutely. It's everywhere.
Right. And it treats human reproduction like this rigid, unyielding machine that just breaks down on a predetermined schedule. We categorize aging fertility as this absolute cliff that you fall off rather than a dynamic biological process that might actually have a massive amount of flexibility.
Okay, let's unpack this, because that flexibility is the entire mission of our deep dive today. We're looking at a pretty extensive body of clinical evidence and emerging research from the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness. Our goal here is to really pull back the curtain on that ticking clock. We want to understand exactly what is happening at a microscopic level when an egg ages, and, more importantly, how integrative approaches, specifically highly targeted acupuncture and customized herbal medicine, can fundamentally change the biological environment that egg is living in.
Because the pervasive narrative of, there's nothing you can do about your age, well, that's only half the story.
Right.
You obviously cannot change your chronological age, but changing the environment your cells develop in, that is a very different, very real possibility.
Yeah, so we need to start by looking at the stark numbers from the research. A woman is born with all the eggs she's ever going to have. It's roughly, 1 to 2 million at birth?
Exactly. Right.
And by the time she reaches puberty, that number has already plummeted to about 300,000. And it just continues to decline from there. But the sources make this crucial distinction right out of the gate.
They do, and it's a big one.
For women trying to conceive after 35, the primary hurdle isn't actually the quantity of eggs left in the vault. The real issue is the quality. And when we say quality, we are talking specifically about chromosomal integrity.
Right. I mean, an egg needs the exact correct number of chromosomes to become a healthy embryo. If it has that, it's exponentially more likely to fertilize, implant in the uterine lining, and ultimately result in a healthy baby.
Yeah.
The decline in that chromosomal quality is the hidden variable that makes the math of conception so difficult as we age.
Which brings up a massive paradox, honestly. Here's my pushback. If a woman is born with all her eggs and they are literally just sitting there in the ovaries for decades, how does the quality decline? Like, how do they get damaged if they're just in storage?
It's a great question because people picture the ovaries as the static, hermetically sealed vault, but they aren't. These eggs are living cells. They're continuously exposed to the physiological environment of the body for decades. The source material actually highlights 4 very specific biological mechanisms of decline that explain exactly how that damage happens.
Okay, let's go through them.
Let's start with the literal powerhouses of the cell mitochondrial decline.
Oh, the mitochondria. We all remember that from high school biology.
Exactly. But what most people don't realize is that an egg is the largest cell in the human body, and it requires an astonishing amount of energy to divide and develop correctly.
Wow, the largest.
Yeah, and the cellular division process, which is called meiosis, is one of the most energy-intensive events in human biology. As a woman ages, the mitochondria inside her eggs produce less energy, and they just become far less efficient.
I was thinking about it like trying to run a heavy manufacturing plant during a citywide brownout.
Oh, that's a good way to put it.
The assembly line doesn't have enough electricity to pull the parts together smoothly, so the final product comes out defective.
That is a perfect analogy. When the egg is finally called up to mature and divide, it simply doesn't have the biological electricity to perform that complex division accurately. And compounding that brownout is the second mechanism, oxidative stress.
Okay, what does that actually mean for the egg?
Well, over 30+ years, the body accumulates damage from unstable molecules called free radicals. These free radicals roam around, stealing electrons from healthy cells. You can think of it almost like biological rust.
Biological rust, yikes.
Yeah, and eggs are incredibly vulnerable to this.
Wait, if the environment is full of this biological rust and the power is failing, how does the cell physically manage to divide without damaging its DNA?
Well, often it doesn't, and that brings us to the third mechanism, which is the degradation of the spindle apparatus.
The spindle apparatus.
Yeah, it's the actual physical cellular machinery, kind of like a microscopic scaffolding or a tractor beam, that is responsible for pulling chromosomes apart and separating them evenly during division.
Okay, I can picture that.
In a younger environment, this biological machinery works with flawless precision. But in an older, oxidized environment, the spindle apparatus itself gets rusted. It becomes fragile and error-prone.
So if the scaffolding literally snaps or malfunctions because it's rusted and underpowered.
Precisely. It might pull too many chromosomes to one side or, too few to the other. This results in aneuploidy, which is the clinical term for an egg with an abnormal number of chromosomes.
And that's what leads to the major issues.
Right. Aneuploid embryos are the primary cause of failed fertilizations, embryos that fail to implant during IVF, and early miscarriages.
Okay, so what is driving all of this rust and power loss in the first place?
The fourth mechanism, blood flow. It is the ultimate supply chain issue. Healthy eggs rely on a really rich, robust blood supply to deliver oxygen and nutrients, and just as importantly, to carry away cellular waste products.
Oh, right, taking the trash out.
Exactly. As women age, the tiny microcirculation to the ovaries diminishes. The eggs are suddenly trained to mature in an environment that's starved of oxygen and choked with waste.
Man, when you lay out those four things, the dying mitochondria, the oxidative rust, the fragile spindle apparatus, and the restricted blood flow, it paints a pretty sobering reality.
It really does.
The data shows that by age 35, a significant proportion of a woman's eggs are already chromosomally abnormal due to these exact factors. And by age 40, the vast majority may be affected. That is the biological why behind all the statistics.
It's entirely causal. We aren't just guessing why fertility declines. We can literally map the cellular degradation step by step.
But, we can't reverse time. You can't make a 40-year-old ovary 25 again. So if the damage is tied to age, are we just stuck?
Oh, yeah.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah.
Because while you cannot change the age of the egg, you can change the environment it matures in. And the key to this entire puzzle is a very specific window of time.
Yes, the 90-day window. This is perhaps the most crucial piece of biology for anyone trying to conceive to understand.
Yeah, I found this part fascinating.
The text points out that it takes exactly 90 days, so about 3 months, for an egg to wake up from its dormant state and mature all the way to the point of ovulation.
I was thinking about this like a high-stakes training camp for an elite athlete.
Mm-hmm.
If you are running a marathon on Sunday, taking a magic vitamin on Saturday night isn't going to do anything. Your performance is dictated by the environment you trained in for the 3 months prior.
Exactly right.
How did you beat? How was your cellular recovery? The egg is the exact same way. It is actively building its capacity for 90 days.
What's fascinating here is how we can actually intervene during that 90-day training camp. This is where customized herbal medicine steps in as a profound tool.
Okay, so we're not talking about over-the-counter vitamins.
No, we aren't talking about grabbing a bottle of generic fertility support gummies off a pharmacy shelf. We are talking about biologically active compounds prescribed to systematically alter the cellular environment over 3 months.
Okay, I get the concept of conditioning, but what are these herbs actually doing inside that 90-day window to reverse a cellular brownout and clean off the rust?
They tackle the mechanisms systematically. First, antioxidant activity. The carefully selected herbal compounds contain potent antioxidants that flood the follicular environment.
So they act like a cleanup crew.
Yes, they act as scavengers, neutralizing those free radicals. They're cleaning off the rust of oxidative stress before it can damage the genetic material and that really delicate spindle apparatus.
And the mitochondria, the power grid.
Certain herbal compounds are clinically shown to enhance energy production within the cells. They provide the cellular nutrition the mitochondria need to rebuild their efficiency.
Wow.
So when the egg reaches the final stage of maturation and needs to pull those chromosomes apart, it actually has the battery power to do it flawlessly.
What about the hormonal side of things? Because as we age, our hormones start playing a very different tune. Can herbs really fix a hormonal imbalance without acting like a systemic sledgehammer?
This is a vital distinction, and it explains exactly how customized herbs work differently from pharmaceuticals. Pharmaceuticals force a reaction.
Right.
Herbs provide precursors. They deliver the specific raw materials that your body uses to build and balance its own hormones.
Oh, I see.
Skilled practitioners use these herbs to gently influence the receptors and enzymes that regulate hormone production. This helps smoothly modulate FSH, that's follicle-stimulating hormone, and support natural progesterone production. It's coaxing the body's natural systems back into a healthy rhythm rather than just overriding them.
But wait, if the microcirculation to the ovaries is restricted as we age, how do these herbal compounds even reach the ovary in the first place?
Because of the vasodilatory effects of specific botanicals.
Meaning they open the blood vessels.
Exactly. Certain herbs literally relax and widen the blood vessels feeding the reproductive organs. This improves the blood flow, ensuring that the developing egg is bathed in oxygen and the herbal nutrients we just discussed, while simultaneously flushing away the built-up cellular waste.
Okay, so herbal medicine provides these daily cellular building blocks. It's the slow, steady conditioning of the environment over 90 days. But what if there's an immediate roadblock?
Right.
Like what if a woman's nervous system is stuck in fight or flight mode, or her blood vessels are tightly constricted right now?
That brings us to the second therapeutic tool, acupuncture, which is, honestly, often profoundly misunderstood in Western contexts.
I'll admit, I'm going to play the skeptical listener here. I know acupuncture is deeply relaxing. I know it helps people de-stress. But we're talking about complex reproductive endocrinology. Does putting tiny sterile needles into the skin actually change reproductive biology in a measurable way?
If we connect this to the bigger picture and the clinical evidence, the answer is an undeniable yes. It is not just about feeling relaxed. It is about observable physiological manipulation of the body's systems.
Okay, show me the evidence.
Let's look at the blood flow issue. Researchers have used Doppler ultrasounds, which visually map the speed and volume of blood moving through vessels in real time to track patients before and after acupuncture.
Wait, really? So they can literally see the blood flow changing color and speed on a monitor while the needles are in?
Exactly. They have demonstrated measurable, significant improvements in both uterine and ovarian blood flow following specific acupuncture protocols.
That's incredible.
By stimulating targeted points, the nervous system sends a direct neurological signal to the blood vessels in the pelvic region, commanding them to dilate. For a woman with diminished ovarian reserve, suddenly opening up that blood flow is an absolute game changer for the follicular environment.
But what about the stress factor? Because telling a woman who is struggling to conceive to just relax is probably the most infuriating counterproductive advice on the planet.
It's terrible advice, primarily because chronic stress is a biological barrier, not just an emotional one. When you are deeply stressed, your body elevates cortisol. High cortisol actively suppresses the critical hormones that drive ovulation, specifically FSH and luteinizing hormone, or LH.
So the body is actively fighting reproduction.
Essentially, yes. Your body is sensing danger and saying now is not a safe time to reproduce, and it shuts the system down. Acupuncture has been clinically shown to intercept those neurological signals. It downregulates the stress response, lowers systemic cortisol levels, and takes the foot off the brake, allowing FSH and LH to circulate properly.
So it is actually changing how the brain talks to the ovaries.
Yes. The sources refer to this as the HPO axis, the hypothalamic pituitary ovarian axis. It is the complex communication pathway between your brain and your reproductive system.
Like a master control room.
Think of it like a highly sensitive thermostat. As we age and as stress accumulates, the communication along this axis gets staticky. The brain might send a signal to mature an egg, but the ovaries don't get the message clearly.
And acupuncture clears the static.
Exactly. It acts as a regulating force for the HPO axis, clearing the static and supporting a consistent, robust ovarian response.
And this isn't just about the egg itself, right? Especially for women going through IVF. I mean, making a beautiful embryo is only step one. It has to successfully implant.
Correct. The uterine lining, the endometrium, has to be thick, rich, and highly receptive. If the egg is the seed, the uterine lining is the soil.
Ah, I love that analogy.
Acupuncture's ability to drive rapid, nutrient-rich blood flow directly to the uterus supports the development of a much more receptive endometrial lining that is absolutely critical for the success of an IVF embryo transfer.
So what does this all mean? Let me put this together.
Huh?
We have customized herbal medicine acting as the daily cellular support system over a 90-day window to fix the mitochondria and clear out the oxidative rust. And we have acupuncture acting in real time to dilate blood vessels, regulate the master control room in the brain, and drop cortisol levels.
Oh.
It seems perfectly synergistic. You would naturally want to do both.
You would.
But wait. If these herbs are strong enough to change blood flow and modulate hormones, what happens if a woman is taking them at the exact same time as heavy IVF injectables? Don't they keep those crosswires?
They absolutely can, which
Yeah.
is why the source material includes a major warning here. Combining these tools requires extreme precision. It requires a level of expertise that you simply will not find at a general acupuncture clinic.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Reproductive endocrinology is vastly different from treating lower back pain or a migraine.
Because the wrong herbs at the wrong time could actively fight the IVF medication.
Exactly. The herbs prescribed during a fertility protocol are potent biological agents. If a practitioner does not intimately understand the exact pharmaceuticals you are taking during an IVF stimulation cycle, they could prescribe an herb that completely contraindicates your medication.
Wow, that's dangerous.
It is. For example, certain compounds that are wonderful for driving blood flow to build an egg are strictly forbidden during the 2-week wait after an embryo transfer because they could stimulate the uterus to contract and actually cause a loss.
Man, so if you are listening to this and thinking, I need to go buy these herbs right now, the research comes with a massive warning label. You need a highly specialized practitioner. You cannot just dabble in this.
Definitely not.
The clinical data we've been referencing today actually comes directly from a pioneer in this exact space, Mike Berkeley, and the Berkeley Center for Reproductive Wellness in New York City.
Yes, Mike Berkeley is a licensed acupuncturist who has spent more than 26 years focusing exclusively on reproductive medicine. That singular focus is what makes the difference.
26 years, wow.
His clinic doesn't occasionally treat fertility patients between spots injuries. It exists entirely within the complex, high-stakes world of reproductive endocrinology.
And the sources note that his approach is entirely evidence-informed. He isn't just taking your pulse and guessing. He's looking at hard diagnostic data.
Absolutely.
The text mentions he uses your AMH levels, your antral follicle count, and your FSH numbers. Can we pause and define what those actually are for the listener?
Of course. These are standard Western medical markers. AMH stands for anti-Müllerian hormone, which essentially acts as a gauge for a woman's remaining ovarian reserve or egg supply.
Okay.
The antral follicle count is a literal visual count done via ultrasound of the resting eggs available in a given month. And FSH, or follicle-stimulating hormone, shows how hard the brain has to work to signal the ovaries to produce an egg.
So he is using objective Western data to build a highly customized Eastern medicine protocol.
Precisely. Because he understands exactly how to time treatments within the rigid schedules of conventional IVF cycles. He knows which herbal compounds are safe at day 3 of stimulation versus day 10. He is working in tandem with the realities of conventional fertility care, not in opposition to it.
And I think it is important to state, as the source text does, that he doesn't promise miracles.
Yep.
There is no magic wand to erase a decade of biological aging. What he offers is a rigorously individualized plan for women who have repeatedly faced the heartbreak of failed IVF cycles or the heavy diagnosis of age-related infertility. He's offering a way to systematically optimize whatever biological potential is still there.
It is about giving each patient the absolute best possible chance by leaving no cellular stone unturned.
So, to you, the listener, if you are navigating this right now, we want to remind you of something critical from the research. Advanced maternal age does reduce egg quality. That is a biological reality we cannot ignore.
True.
But it is not a sentence. The months before you attempt natural conception or the months leading up to an IVF cycle are not just a passive waiting period. They represent a vital, active window of opportunity.
A 90-day window.
Exactly. It is a time when targeted expert care can genuinely change the environment and fundamentally influence the quality of the eggs you will release. If you want to explore what this looks like for your specific situation, the source material provides direct contact info. You can schedule a consultation with Mike Berkeley by calling 212-685-0985, or you can dive deeper into their resources by visiting www.berkeleycenter.com. That's 212-685-0985. or berkeleycenter.com.
This raises an important question, one that extends even beyond fertility.
Oh.
Yeah, if a dedicated, highly targeted 90-day change in a cellular environment can fundamentally alter the genetic integrity and the ultimate destiny of a single egg, well, what other supposedly fixed aspects of our aging biology might just be waiting for the right environmental shift?
Now that is something to think about.